So where do they want to take the world? I've been describing this for a long, long time as what I call the Hunger Games Society, obviously named after the movie trilogy. And the reason I use that phrase is because where they want to take the world, and I will emphasize again, this is not me speaking now since the lockdown and the pandemic hoax. This is me speaking decades ago, writing decades ago, that this was the plan. And the Hunger Games Society is designed, if you think of a pyramid, to have a tiny few at the top. We call them the 1% today. And at the bottom, the rest of humanity, basically, in dependency, in deprivation, in poverty, and crucially, again, the word dependent upon the 1% for the means of survival. And in between the 1% and the rest of the population in this Hunger Games society, you have in the end, what they want it to be is a police military state, a fusion of the two. But a police military state which imposes the will of the 1% upon the rest of the population and stops the population challenging the 1%. Now, I've been saying over all these years, this is where they want to take us. And one other level of this, again, as I've been saying for a long, long time, is that this Hunger Games society would be controlled by technology. So we're talking about a fascist, communist, global society with an addition, that it is controlled by technology, which makes it what people call a technocracy, which is defined as a society not controlled by elected politicians. They want rid of all that, but by technocrats, by bureaucrats, by scientists, by medical bureaucrats and technocrats, by engineers and scientists, etc. And we've been moving in that direction very clearly. But what do you need more than anything if you're going to make that society reality? You have to destroy the independent livelihood of vast numbers of the population. Because while they're running their businesses and employing people and operating independently, making money, paying employees, you're not going to put humanity in totality in the bottom reaches of that Hunger Games society in deprivation, in poverty, and dependency on the few. And this fake pandemic, which I'm going to explain, has been employed for many reasons, but profoundly right in there is to have a lockdown of business, particularly small business, which almost in vast numbers will not survive. The big people can. To have a lockdown long enough to destroy the independent livelihood of vast numbers of the human population. And at the end of our first interview, Brian, you said to me, well, where does it go from here? And I said, what they're going to do is they're going to keep this going until they reach the point where they think we've now reached a situation where we've transformed human society, we have destroyed the independent livelihood of enormous numbers of people, and it's irreversible. And that's what they're holding on to. And what you're going to see is some of it rolled back, as little as they can get away with. And then they're planning new waves of the virus, which we're going to get into, and then they will bring lockdown back. And the other part of this is they want the whole human population vaccinated, and we'll get into that later, and the almost indescribable extremes of psychopath that we have in Bill Gates. So that's where they want to take society.
Okay. Let me ask you a quick question.